War ravages the lands. The Night Elves face utter annihilation. Hundreds, possibly thousands dead. I don't care though. I'm just a tree.
Malfurion Stormrage frowned. The trees spoke of war in such an abstract, detached manner. The Burning Legion was a threat to all life, not just the Night Elves.
I thought you'd be here. Illidan, do you need something? Lord Ravencrest will be making an announcement come dusk, brother. I had to get up early just so I could find you and bring you back in time to hear it.
Illidan, like many Night Elves, tended to sleep most of the day, daytime being when their connection to the Well of Eternity was at its weakest. Malfurion, however, had learned to do the opposite of that, in order to best tap into the natural forces of the world. It was possible to study Druidism at night, but just easier during the day.
I was just about to head back anyway. It would look bad if you're not there. Lord Ravencrest doesn't like disorder or delay, especially from those integral to his plans. You know that very well, brother. I had to leave Soroma. I felt closed in. I couldn't sense the forest. Half the buildings in Soroma were formed from living trees. What's the difference?
Malfurion had no idea how to explain to his brother the sensation he felt every single day. The further he delved into Druidism, the more sensitive he'd become to every component of the true world. Out in the forest, he felt the general calm and tranquility of the trees, the rocks, the birds, snails. But in the city, utter insanity. The feeling of being late, the feeling of being inadequate, the feeling of being surrounded and yet lonely. What if this happens? What if that doesn't happen? What if I can't do it? It's not fair. I want.
Let's return to our mounts.
Illidan smirked and nodded, and the two twins then walked side by side through the forest in silence for a bit.
The dragon intends to leave us, likely by the time the sun sets.
Malfurion then paused.
Is Master Krasus going with him? No, he's staying with Master Ronan. I see. But still, to lose Korialstrasz, this isn't good, Illidan. Obviously not. But we'll make do. We're not without strength of our own, even if you seem reluctant to make full use of yours.
By full use, Illidan was referring to more destructive spells. Spells which could wreak havoc, not only on the enemy but on the landscape, and anything else caught in its path as well. Illidan never did grasp the concept that Druidism was about working with the perfect balance of nature, not against it.
I do what I can in the way that I must. If you...
Suddenly, a figure of nightmare burst onto the scene, interrupting that conversation. A Felguard, swinging its sword frantically towards Illidan. But Malfurion quickly shoved his brother aside, unleashing a sharp gust of wind into the demon, flinging it several yards backwards into a tree. The roots of that tree then wrapped around the attacker, and it exploded. Again, I lack the budget and skill set, so a lot of things are probably just going to explode during this series. However, the danger wasn't over yet. Two more Felguard then appeared, catching the two young Night Elves off guard with a frontal attack and separating them. Which in itself was a ruse, because from behind, the vampiric energy devouring tentacles of a fell beast then attached themselves to Malfurion and started sucking him dry. The young druid screamed, feeling the magic being literally torn from his body, feeling his strength wane. However,
spread out. Make certain there are no more.
A young familiar officer then approached Malfurion, as Night Elf soldiers did as they were ordered, and spread out quickly.
Is this to be my fate then? Constantly trying to keep you two from getting yourselves slaughtered. I should have begged his lordship to let me keep my posting in the Soromar Guard. But then this might have turned out differently, Captain Shadowsong. Nah, it wouldn't have. Lord Ravencrest wouldn't have let me go back to the Guard anyway. Seems to believe I was blessed by the Mother Moon herself to protect his two special servants. You came back to Soromar in the company of myself, a novice priestess of Elune, a mysterious wizard, and a dragon, Captain. I'm afraid we marked you in the eyes of Lord Ravencrest and the other commanders. They'll never view you as a simple guard officer again. I'm no hero, Master Malfurion. You and the others slay demons with barely the wave of a hand. I just try to preserve your head so that you can continue to do it.
Illidan then reappeared, brushing himself off.
I had that situation in hand. Just following my orders, Master Illidan.
Illidan and Malfurion exchanged a wordless glance, realising they were actually in agreement for once. 'Twas indeed very annoying. The Lord Ravencrest had them constantly watched. One of the men, under Jarod Shadowsong's command, then approached.
Area's clear, Captain. No sign of any more.
A few moments later, a short distance further into the woods, the gathered party paused before a gruesome sight. One of the Night Sabres, torso ripped open, entrails spilled out. Its rider skewered with his own sword, his chest too methodically torn open, 'cause why not?
Get his body down. I want an escort around those two this instant.
Meanwhile,
You're brooding again. Merely concerned about your departure.
Korialstrasz nodded, before joining his older counterpart, staring out over the battlements of Blackrock Hold at nothing in particular.
It's not like I want to leave. There's a silence among our kind. I can't even sense my beloved Alexstrasza. You of all should understand my need to discover the truth.
This time, Krasus nodded. He too felt the emptiness, and accepted that his younger self did have to fly off and discover the reason why, even if it meant risk for both of them. Together, they were an astonishing force. But divided, illness struck them both, rendering them practically impotent.
I've been thinking, there may be a way in which we can still journey alongside one another, so to speak. I'm eager to hear it. There is on you at least one loose scale, yes?
The red dragon spread his wings and shook like a dog for a moment, his scales clattering.
Here's one. I'd like to have it, with your permission.
Had it been anyone else, Korialstrasz might have refused, but he'd come to trust Krasus, almost as much as he trusted himself or something.
It's yours.
Korialstrasz then scratched at a specific spot with a back paw, causing a scale to fall to the ground, and Krasus then picked it up.
And now I must give you something in return. That's hardly necessary. Yes, it is.
Putting aside the dragon scale, Krasus then stared at his own left hand and concentrated real hard, allowing his slim, elegant fingers to shift, becoming reptilian. And with that transformation came sharp agony, causing Krasus to double over. But, determined to see this through, Krasus then seized his now reptilian hand and tore one of his own scales off, fighting through the pain.
You risked yourself terribly attempting that. It was necessary. Here.
Krasus then located the spot from which Korialstrasz had scratched his own scale free, and whispering words older than dragons, then pressed his scale directly into it.
It will adhere to your flesh in a matter of seconds. There'll be no chance of losing it. It feels normal. As I now carry a part of you with me, so too do you now carry a part of me with you. I just pray the synergistic magics will give us the same benefit as if being actually near each other. There's only one way to find out.
Krasus agreed with that. 'Twas time.
Farewell, then, good Korialstrasz. Farewell. Alexstrasza, I'll tell her you and your wishes, Krasus. I have suspicions about our links, but I respect the need you have to keep your secrets. One thing I do know, though, you love her as much as I. Exactly as I.
Krasus said nothing to that.
As soon as I can, I'll tell you how she fares. Until we meet again, my blood.
And with that, the red dragon leapt into the air and buggered off. My blood, Krasus thought. Interesting choice of words. To dragons, such a term meant close ties indeed. Not just friend, brother, or even the same being in two bodies. With Korialstrasz gone, though, weakness immediately overtook Krasus' body. So he quickly grabbed Korialstrasz's scale, again muttering the ancient words, and shoved the scale against his own bare chest. And boof! A slight hint of weariness still lingered within his being, but the worst of it was gone, so that problem was solved. However, a very different but sudden wave of vertigo then hit Krasus. It was all he could do to stop himself from slipping right over the battlements, but the attack ended swiftly. As soon as he could stand straight, Krasus immediately looked out, far beyond Blackrock Hold, far beyond Soramar, directly towards the distant Zin Ashari. A shift of insane magnitude had just occurred to the world's magical forces.
They've done it.